In this video, we're going to be looking at Chapter 3, Inductive and Abductive Arguments, from Elliott Sober's book, Core Questions in Philosophy. This is from pages 19 to 24 of the reading. So we just looked at deductive arguments, and they have to be the best arguments ever, right? In a deductively valid argument, if the premises are true, it's impossible for the conclusion to be false. That's amazing. That has to be what we want. However, this can be a limitation. And this is because it's a property of a deductively valid argument that it doesn't say anything that wasn't already contained in the premises. Now, to understand what this means, think back to the examples that we looked at. So you'll notice that the conclusion only effectively reorders the premises. It doesn't give us anything new. Okay, so let's move on to inductive arguments. Now, imagine a phone survey. We call 1,000 people in our county, and 60% of them say that they're Democrats. So maybe we could put together this argument. 60% of the people called said they're Democrats, so 60% of the people called are Democrats. Now, this is not a deductively valid argument. Okay, let's try again. 60% of the people called are Democrats. So, approximately 60% of the voters in the county are Democrats. This is also not deductively valid. But why? In a deductively valid argument, it's impossible for the conclusion to be false if the premises are true. Remember? But what if people lied? This would make the premise that 60% of them are Democrats false. Or, what if we just happen to call a bunch of Democrats when in reality the percentage is closer to 25%? This isn't saying that the people actually lied. It's just saying that it's possible. So you can't have deductive certainty. Remember that deductive arguments leave us with certainty. There is something that we can say, however. We might be able to say that our phone survey gives us a pretty good reason for considering that 60% of the county voters are Democrats. Notice, however, that this pretty good reason is not a deductively valid one. Okay, here's a non-deductive inference. 60% of the people we called in our phone survey were Democrats. We used a well-established and effective phone survey method to decide who to call. We asked well-formed questions. So, it's probable that 60% of the voters in the county are Democrats. Notice that this conclusion is just probably true. We have good reason to believe it, but it isn't certain. Okay? So, we can sort of divide up deductive arguments and inductive arguments by looking at two gambling strategies. The first gambling strategy would be extremely conservative, and this would be like a deductive argument. You're never going to lose, but you're going to decline gambles that you could have won. Okay? And induction, on the other hand, is using a slightly different gambling strategy. The thoughtful risk taker. You can lose money, which means that you can be wrong, but you can win wagers by taking risks, by taking sensible risks. Now, do you think that we make many non-deductive inferences in everyday life? We do. We make all kinds of inductive inferences all the time. All of our beliefs about the future are non-deductive inferences. Anytime that we think something is going to happen because of our past experience, that's an inductive inference. Humans are inductive reasoning machines. It's really the thing that makes us work. And quite frankly, I think one of the reasons why we are so disrupted right now is because we don't know what the future is going to be like based on our experience of the past. Now, what about science? Does science use inductive inferences? I'm going to leave this as an open question. Inductive inferences involve taking a description of something that you're sampling and extending that description to the items outside the sample. So, 60% of the county voters called are Democrats. So therefore, approximately 60% of the county voters are Democrats. So notice that you move from the things that you're sampling to make a conclusion about the outside world or things not included in your sample. The strength of an inductive argument is a matter of degree. Two factors affect the strength of an inductive argument. One, the sample size, and two, the representativeness or unbiasedness of the sample. All right, in the next video, we're going to look at abduction, which is also known as inference to the best explanation.